Last video we started with a cow. It's only right we start with another one. So this is an Uganda cow. Look at the size of the horns there. We are at Philip's pond, and the question for today is, what do you do if you run out of money when you're building your fish ponds? So we're going to have a look at his ponds in a moment, and you'll see the problem that he has. This is his water source, and it's very beautiful actually. It's really clear, can you see? And he was telling me it's a permanent source of water. We're in the middle of a wetland, so this is the edge of the wetland, and you can see it goes for miles that way. It actually drains into Lake Victoria, which is the second largest lake in the world, freshwater lake. It's absolutely ridiculously huge, and this is one of the water sources in so many places. So this is the water source. It's a permanent spring well, and his ponds are over there, and what he's proposing doing is basically building a reservoir dam here, around here somewhere, and then he would use a solar pump to pump water to his ponds. And I was amazed actually, because the head height, which is the height that the water can reach if the water was vertical, it doesn't ever go vertical, it goes along and then up. That's 80 meters, and you can get one for about 4 million, which is about, what's that, $1,200, about 1,000 or 800 pounds in sterling. So it's sort of a viable option, and then he would pipe the water from the pump, the reservoir, from there, using a sort of pump into his reservoir, and then it would just flow, and then by gravity, and then from that pump, from the reservoir, he'd pump it all the way up to 80 meters. And this has probably only got a maximum of 10 meters elevation up to his highest point. So plenty of power to do that. And the other good thing about pumping it is you would then let it flow and trickle, then you add oxygen to the water. So that's his water source that he needs to sort out. There's piping to do. You've got to plan for floods. You've got to think carefully about where you're putting your ponds to prepare for all eventualities. That's Philip, Alex and Pauson. So that's his structure there he's built. But the major problem that Philip has was, we actually started constructing these, sorry, I'm going the wrong way. He started constructing these in April 2020. We all know what happened in April 2020. The whole country, all the countries around the world shut down because of COVID. So he built these ponds, and then he didn't have any income, no way of earning income, because he was mostly self-employed, and so these ponds became abandoned. So this one's I think it was 15 by 20, I think he said. This one's at 15 by 20, very beautiful ponds. And then he's got a bigger one over there, which is 20 by 30. So he's had to leave them alone because he ran out of cash. So he constructed them. He didn't have enough money to put the pipes in for drainage. He didn't have enough money to get the fingerlings. He was also worried. He thought, well, if I do scrape it together, there's an issue with security, because this is quite a remote site. I can hear the frogs starting to croak. It's getting to that time of day. So it's a remote site, so he was worried about theft. He wanted to build a structure first, all these things. So when you run out of money and you're trying to build a pond, this is what happens. It turns back into quite a nice little area. Funnily enough, I think the parallels between Philip, who we met, and Nicholas, who we met in the last video. Nicholas had also built his ponds a bit too close to the swamp for my liking. So he had troubles with draining them, and just flooding and all that sort of thing. I actually think this is slightly too low as well. So if he's going to pump water, and I'll explain that in a moment. Let's have a look at the pump first, and then I'll carry on. So these are the ponds there, abandoned ponds. If he's going to pump water, he may as well turn this area in front of his habitation, and he owns it from this boundary all the way back. That would be a better potential source of ponds, because it's definitely not going to flood, and you're not going to struggle with getting, you know, draining your ponds, because if you're too close to the swamp, it's hard to drain them. So we're just trying to harvest. So I think that's probably a better option for him. So we're talking that through. And then this is the structure that he's built since, which has the security that he needs. A very nice structure. And then at the top, he's also got some, in the distance there, he's also got some bathroom. So what do you do if you run out of money on a fish farm? Don't give up. You can always try again, and you take it on, take it on slowly. So since Philip ran out of money, he has actually improved the place. So you can see he's built some structures so he can solve the security problem. He's got plans for solar pumps, and he's going to renovate his pond. So, things don't always happen straight away. So my encouragement to you is, if you run out of money, if you're not able to finish your ponds, just wait a bit, and you will get there eventually. And keep trying, because it's a great industry to be in. People always need to be fed, and it's good to be a part of that solution. So we've just had a quick tour inside. Philip's just packing everything away, but we're going to go in a moment because the sun's setting. But yeah, so, I mean, it's a great site, lots of potential. I think I can see the place working, and it boils down to what do we want to do next. I think there's sometimes a perception that this is easy, but no, it's not. This is it's hard work, so you need the right individual. And then, of course, the source of funds as well. So, we're looking at a mixture of sort of loans for the owner operator. So, it's their business, like you would take a business loan out, that type of thing. But yeah, beautiful site, and it's very nice to be here in the grass. In the fields. I like this time of day. It's very beautiful. Anyway, I'm waffling on now, but let's hope that one day that this will turn into a hub. That will be fantastic. And it's great to meet Philip. He's very well connected. He knows lots of people in the industry, so always very helpful to us. Anyway, that's how some of our interactions have started. But if you are interested in working with us, then we've got a form. Do fill that out, and we can be in touch. We're always looking to enable smallholders to succeed. So if that's something you're passionate about, then please get in touch. My name's Tim, out here in Uganda, Chitora. Good to see you, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks very much.